14th, 2025, and the news begins right now.
Now, the news with Steve McMurray and meteorologist Eric Gage.
And good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Steve McMurray in for Gary.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
Got a lot to get to this morning, but we want to get right to a check of the Storm Tracker 2 forecast, and it's one you're going to like, at least for the next 48 hours.
Plenty of sun today. We are looking at lots of warmth as well. This morning, though, it's not a particularly warm one. We are right around the 32-degree mark, but as you can see here, live looking at downtown Utica right now, plenty of clear skies, which allowed a great viewing of the total lunar eclipse overnight. The totality was around 2:30 to 3 a.m. It was a very late totality time. Look at those temperatures around the area. 32 in Rome, 34 Hamilton, 19 up in the Adirondacks and Saranac Lake. The radar looking quiet and dry early this morning, and as we head throughout the day today, expect lots of dry weather, sunshine, and high temperatures in the upper 50s, low 60s. Great weather across the board today and nice weather tomorrow as well, but the winds pick up. A strong cold front rolls through for the second half of the weekend, and we could see our first true thunderstorms of the year. We'll have a look at that detailed forecast coming up in a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Eric, thanks. A local watch party took place.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Welcome back to Sunrise. The time now is 5:10, and heading out the door today, well, quiet weather continues. It's a great morning and eventually a great afternoon as we turn the page into what will be a very warm weekend with dry weather tomorrow, but potentially some storms arriving on Sunday. Still, though, plenty of snow in parts of the North Country. Some reports a foot or two still on the ground despite the amount of warm weather we've experienced over the past few days. But still, that'll continue to melt as the warmer days roll through. But dry roadways across the board. We're hovering right around the freezing point, so some locations might actually have some icy spots on untreated surfaces, some frozen puddles and whatnot. But again, today's weather looking entirely dry. Expect a dry morning commute and a dry evening commute with high temperatures approaching near 60. Steve?
All right, Eric, thanks. The measles outbreak can
Well, your day. Watch for the Storm Tracker 2 Commutecast and be ready for your drive to and from work. The Storm Tracker 2 Commutecast is brought to you by the Pratt Munson College of Art and Design. Visit Pratt Munson today and ignite curiosity and creativity. The Cooperstown Camera is brought to you by Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Utica. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Some of you may have stayed up late or woke up early to view the eclipse, and we'll share a great photo of it in a second. But early this morning, the moon itself slowly coming to an end with that eclipse. So what was a fingernail of a moon earlier this morning has now turned to almost an entire full moon over the past few minutes. Downtown Utica, live view right now, mainly clear skies, quiet weather, temperatures sitting right around the freezing mark at this point. Feels like temperatures sitting around 26 degrees with that southeast wind, but don't worry, throughout the day today we'll be warming up rather quickly. The radar at this point is entirely dry, just some low-level noise here in the atmosphere, indicated by some of that little static. But as we zoom out, the only thing we're experiencing today are a few high-level cirrus clouds, those wispy ice clouds way up in the atmosphere. High pressure system keeps things quiet, dry, and also is going to be dragging in warmer air as that high pressure moves its way east. Notice how this is rotating clockwise. That means the winds on the back side of this high pressure will be dragging in some warmer air from the south and east. So if you have any plans to head out to the St. Patrick's Day Parade tomorrow, well, you couldn't ask for a better day weather-wise. It's in the 40s by the start of the parade, nearing 60 by 1 p.m. Still a little breezy out, southeast wind at 12 miles per hour, but plenty of sunshine throughout the morning hours. At least compared to the past few years, this is probably the nicest morning we've seen in quite some time. So Saturday, clouds begin to roll in the afternoon, high of 64. Sunday starts out quiet, but by the evening hours, we are tracking some scattered showers, even some thunderstorms as well. And here's the reason why. Here's that high pressure I mentioned earlier. Now we'll start to see this massive low pressure system. This is likely going to cause a lot of severe weather across much of the Atlantic coast heading down into the southeast. Now here locally, the severe weather risk isn't really that high, but we could still see some thunderstorms from it as that strong gradient of pressure and temperature roll through. Look at the massive contrast of warm and colder air from the front to the back side of the system. So today, highs approach the upper 50s, low 60s. Plenty of sunshine. By tonight, a mild overnight. Overnight lows only in the upper 30s to low 40s. Then some patchy fog tomorrow morning burns off to plenty of sun. Great afternoon. And then by the evening, maybe a few sprinkles as a warm front rolls over us. And then Sunday, mostly cloudy, very mild start, already at around the low 60s by noontime. And then we'll begin to see that round of showers and thunderstorms roll through roughly between 5 and 7 p.m. And again, this could produce some strong winds, some heavy rain. Just a heads up. If you have any plans Sunday evening, you might encounter it with some heavy rain. Then your 7-day forecast. Following that massive cold front, we cool from the 60s down into the 40s for St. Patrick's Day itself on Monday. But that cold weather is short-lived. We're back into the 50s and 60s again by next week. And I know I'm calling 40s cold now. I feel like I'm already I'm already getting used to this warmer weather. So
no doubt. And spring will actually have a spring temperature.
Yeah, 55 the temperature. So.
All right, we'll take it. Every once in a while, things work out. All right. Well, the world's largest digital minutes ahead. It is Friday, March 14th, 2025, and the news rolls along right now.
Now, the news with Steve McMurray and meteorologist Eric Gage.
And good morning. Thank you for joining us this half hour. I'm Steve McMurray.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
So let's start this half hour with a check of that Storm Tracker 2 forecast, and a nice forecast at that.
Yes, pretty quiet, sunshine today. It's a cold start, though. Look at the current conditions out there right now. First off, live look at downtown Utica. Mainly clear skies over much of the region, and those temperatures, because of that, are widely variable. We go from the 30s in parts of the southern valleys and Mohawk Valley into the teens and 20s up to the north. Some of our sky watchers reporting 20s in the North Country, 19 the overall low in upstate New York. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. Things are entirely quiet across the region. And today, after a quiet start, things are warming up quickly into the upper 50s, nearing 60 degrees. Plenty of sun. It's a fantastic Friday. Might be great weather for potentially pulling out the grill for the first time. I haven't done that yet, but still, any outdoor plans, going for a walk, great weather for that. We have a look at a warm weekend, but along with the warm weather comes some strong winds, even some thunderstorms on Sunday. We'll have a timing of that and the potential impacts in that full forecast. Steve?
All right, Eric, thanks. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away. Well, new this morning,
Brought to you by Holland Farms Bakery and Deli. The Cooperstown Camera is brought to you by Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Utica.
Welcome back to Sunrise on this Friday. Our final photo of the day for this week, of course, will be the lunar eclipse, and an amazing photo sent in to us from Madison. You can see here a great shot of the, quote, blood moon. This is what happens when the moon is entirely behind Earth's shadow and only the red light gets scattered around Earth's atmosphere, and that gives the moon its blood color in lunar eclipses like this. So if you're wondering why the moon appears red in a lunar eclipse, that is why. So thank you for that submission. If you'd like to submit your own, you can send it to WKTV.com/weather/pics. Now, some of you might also have seen the ISS flyby overnight last night, but there's another one tonight as well. This time it won't be nearly as short as last night. It went into Earth's shadow, but this goes for 7 minutes, and it's today around 7:50, and it's about 57 degrees above the horizon, so it won't be nearly as overhead as overnight last night, but still great visibility. And if you missed it, you have a chance to see it earlier in the night tonight again at 7:50. Steve?
All right, pretty cool. Thanks, Eric. Well, 5 years ago, the
Dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Happy Friday, everyone. We're looking at a very pleasant day today. Lots of sunshine and warmth back on the table. In fact, downtown Utica, live view right now, it's still a little cold out. Temperatures right around the 30s, but we're entering this pattern in late winter time where we are seeing this cold morning followed by a warmer afternoon. 32 the current temperature as we speak. Now, the radar is looking entirely dry. This is all driven by an area of high pressure. We zoom out, here it is. Now, this morning, we've got more of an easterly wind here, at least the upper atmosphere is showing the easterly wind, or westerly wind, I should say. But notice this clockwise motion of that high pressure. As that moves its way east, it's going to start dragging in some warmer air, and that'll allow us to warm up throughout the day and have even a warmer weekend expected both Saturday as well as Sunday. But to start out, if you don't have any plans tomorrow morning, I do recommend heading out to the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Not too often do we see temperatures like this. In the 40s and 50s by the morning hours when the parade starts, plenty of sun. No snowfall expected this year. We've had some years past where it's been quite the snowy scene, but this year weather's great. Come out and join the fun. Again, it's taking place tomorrow, and by the afternoon, highs in the 60s. So you've got a pretty pleasant day for your Saturday. Most of the day Sunday is also looking nice, but we're keeping a very close eye on Sunday evening. That's when a cold front moves in, and this could produce some scattered showers, even our first round of thunderstorms here in our area this year. So, bigger picture, high pressure, as I mentioned, is moving its way east. Then here comes that massive cold front, and watch as it barrels through much of the northeast. This will produce a lot of severe weather potential in areas in the south, but the northernmost extent of it actually encompasses parts of our area. So we got to keep a close eye on severe weather potential with this system, but it pushes through, and then by Sunday night we go from the 60s down to the 40s and 30s as that cold air works its way in. So it's a pretty significant system. We've been tracking this all week long, and so far it's been living up to the strength potential. But to our skycast today, it's a quiet one. Sunshine, high temperatures, upper 50s, low 60s. Tomorrow morning starts out in the 30s and 40s, warming up into the 50s and 60s by the afternoon, with morning fog giving way to sunshine throughout the day, and then a few clouds increasing by the evening. And along with those clouds, maybe an isolated sprinkle or two. So it's not entirely dry tomorrow, especially in locations out to the west. Then Sunday, it's going to be a mostly cloudy day, but a warm one. Highs in the 60s, nearing 70 degrees before that cold front rolls through. And again, some of those darker oranges and reds indicating some pretty heavy rainfall along with some stronger winds. So just a heads up for Sunday evening. Don't be alarmed if you hear some loud thunderstorms roll through the area. Your 7-day forecast, following that massive cold front, we go from the 60s down into the 30s overnight, into the 40s by St. Patrick's Day itself. But it's short-lived as we are tracking sunshine and warmth by next week. So I don't want to call it early. It's too early to say winter's over. But, I mean, for now, the near term's looking pretty nice weather-wise.
No doubt. And it looks like the first day of spring will be spring-like.
Yes.
What do you know? All right. Thanks a lot, Eric. Well, the escalating trade 14th, 2025.
Now, the news with Steve McMurray and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Steve McMurray, in for Gary today.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
We've got a lot to get to this morning, but we want to get right to a check of the Storm Tracker 2 forecast. And Eric, what do we have?
We got plenty of sun today. It's a cold start, though. Temperatures begin in the 30s, but you can see here a live look at downtown Utica, clear skies across the board. And overall, it's a quiet morning. It's a cold one, though, as you head up in the North Country. A lot of locations well below freezing. Saranac Lake sitting at 19. Our Skywatchers up in Old Forge and Inlet in the 20s as well. So it's a cold morning, but warming up quickly this afternoon. Radar is entirely dry and expected entirely dry day today with lots of sun and highs climbing into the upper 50s, low 60s. Likely a lot of locations in the 60s this afternoon. We got a warm weekend ahead, but we wrap things up on Sunday with a round of some thunderstorms potentially, and these could be on the stronger side, believe it or not. We're already entering severe weather season for much of the United States, but that might also reach our area as well. We'll explain the impacts, the timing, and overall what you can expect throughout the entire weekend coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Eric, thanks. A local watch party took place for the total lunar eclipse in the early.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Welcome back. Happy Friday, everyone. The time now is 6:10, and heading out the door today, well, you'll be encountering pretty much nothing impacting your morning or evening commute. Matter of fact, grab those sunglasses. You'll need it at least throughout the day today. A look at the area roadways this morning. One thing to mention, it has fallen below freezing, so watch out for some icy spots in parking lots, sidewalks, and driveways. But still plenty of snow in locations, especially up north near Boonville, North Country, northern Eddy County. Still lots of it on the ground. And it's going to take a little bit to melt all the several feet of snow that you guys have experienced over the past several months. But as you head south, say south of Utica and whatnot, almost all the general ground snow is gone. Snowbanks, of course, are still around. Traffic tracker, no incidents to report this morning. And the radar looking quiet as well. So pretty unnotable weather today. But again, enjoy the sunshine with partly cloudy skies this morning and lots of sun this afternoon with highs in the low 60s. Steve?
All right, Eric, thanks. The measles outbreak continues to spread across
County Public Market.
The Cooperstown Camera is brought to you by Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Utica. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone. On this Friday, it is a quiet start today, a cold one, but warmth is on the way again this afternoon as well as this weekend. Here's a live look at downtown Utica from the Utica University Nexus Center camera right here facing the downtown area. Eastern sky in the distance and some early morning twilight just starting to peek out. Again, daylight saving time brought the sunrise back an hour, but don't worry, we're going to be quickly going back to pre-6:30 sunrises in just a couple of weeks. 31 the temperature officially in Rome with clear skies, southeast wind of 5 miles an hour. Radar entirely dry. Zooming out, radar and satellite showing high pressure over us at this point. Now, what does that mean for our weather? It means quiet conditions, plenty of sun today, and as this high pressure moves its way east, this clockwise motion of winds around the center will begin to drag in that south wind and warm up those temperatures, not only for today, but also for Saturday as well as Sunday. But before we get to that weekend forecast, breaking it down just for the St. Patrick's Day parade tomorrow. This is the first time in several years we've seen conditions this great, 40s and 50s by the parade time itself. Plenty of sun and only a decent southeast wind, which will be a warmer wind than usual. So if you don't have any plans tomorrow, go out and enjoy it. Of course, lots of candy will be thrown as well. The kids will love it as well. And overall, a great time to be had here in Utica. Weekend forecast, mostly cloudy skies, move in tomorrow afternoon. Mainly sunny to start, though, high of 64 degrees. Sunday, a lot more on the cloudy side, plus showers and storms roll through in the evening. This could be our first true thunderstorm event of the year already, and it's not even springtime yet. So the bigger picture, high pressure exits to the east. This massive cold front rolls in from the west. This is likely going to cause a lot of severe weather along the Atlantic coast. And this could reach as far north as here in central New York, but we're on the edge of the severe weather potential. The bullseye of it is generally south. Those warmer temperatures are expected, but still, we're not letting our guard down when it comes to an event like this. But still, if there's any warnings, flood warnings, a lot of rain, or any severe thunderstorm warnings, you can, of course, download the app. You can scan it with your phone right below me. It'll send you an alert for the warning directly to your phone as it happens. So here we are, 50s and 60s today. Sunshine, a few clouds roll over overnight, and then tomorrow, plenty of sunshine to start. A few clouds roll their way in the evening hours, as well as maybe a few sprinkles, but that's due to that warm front rolling through Saturday night. Then Sunday, dry start, temperatures in the 60s, strong south winds, followed by that massive cold front bringing a huge dip in those temperatures, as well as some heavy rainfall, even some levels of thunder as well. So we'll keep a close eye on this. We might make it an alert day. We're not dead set on that just yet, but we're waiting for more data to come in later on this morning. 7-day forecast, windy on Sunday, of course, from those south winds. That cool down into the 40s and 30s Monday, but then we're back into the 50s and 60s by the final days of wintertime. Spring is about a week from now.
That's right, and we're moving in that direction. Again, don't want to jinx it. Winter always, sometimes has that last hurrah, for lack of a better term, but so far so good. All right, thanks a lot, Eric. Well, the world's largest digital camera.
News with Steve McMurray and meteorologist Eric Gage.
And good Friday morning to you. Thank you for joining us this half hour. I'm Steve McMurray in for Gary.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
So we're going to check the forecast in just a minute, but first, an interesting little factoid from the gentleman on my left.
So today's nice, warm, but about 8 years ago on this day, Superstorm Stella slammed Utica.
Wow.
And this was the this is the record-setting snowfall. Utica has not had a higher snowfall measurement in 24 hours than Stella back in 2017. And then before we went on air, Steve and I were sharing our memories of one of the blizzard of 93, but also of Stella, which I was alive for Stella. But we have, I have memories of shoveling all the snow and then shoveling my pathway back to the house. But it was a pretty interesting event. Lots of snow that fell in our area, but it's a pretty interesting juxtaposition today that it's a lot of snow 8 years ago, and today, a lack of it. Live look at downtown Utica. Plenty of sunshine expected this afternoon. Clear skies, temperatures cold to start. Radar also looking dry, but again, today those high temperatures climb into the upper 50s to low 60s. Plenty of sun across the board today. It's a beautiful Friday on tap. No snowfall, no record-setting snowfall expected. And I promise, Steve, no more age jokes coming in today.
Man.
Back to you.
We're talking about the blizzard of 93. I wasn't born yet. Talking about the blizzard of the 40s or the 60s. Oh, my water. Anyway, don't forget, your Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away unless I throw him out.
The Cooperstown Camera is brought to you by Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Utica.
Good morning. In the scene right there, you actually could see the moon out in the distance with that live view of Cooperstown. Good morning, everyone. Our photo of the day today, of course, takes us back to the moon. The total lunar eclipse took place overnight last night, or I should say this past night. It was only about a few hours ago when we saw peak totality. And it's also sometimes called the blood moon. And if you're wondering why the moon turns red in this situation, it's because, of course, the moon is entirely encompassed by Earth's shadow. But the light travels through Earth's atmosphere, and similar to how the sun appears orange or red closer to sunset, as the light passes through more atmosphere, only the red light remains, and that's why the moon appears red here, because it travels through all of Earth's atmosphere and then finally casts its shadow on the moon itself. This is taken in Madison. Amazing photo right here. And if you would like to submit a photo like this one here, you can send it to WKTV.com/weather/pics. So we also had an ISS flyby last night as well, but in case you missed it, we got another one that flies by tonight. This time a little longer, 7 minutes long, takes place at 7:50. Look in the southwest sky and disappears in the northeast sky and it has a max height around 57 degrees above the horizon. So it won't be nearly as high up as last night, but you still have good visibility for it with clear skies tonight. Steve?
All right, Eric, thanks. 5 years ago, the Oneida County Executive made
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
It's a cold start to your day today, but relatively dry. We are starting to see that early morning twilight after a pretty busy night with astronomical events. We had the ISS flyby, the total lunar eclipse, if some of you woke up early enough to see it. A lot of great photos submitted to us on our website. Downtown Utica, of course, a live view right here. Twilight, quiet conditions, temperature sitting at 31 degrees. And as we head throughout the day today, expect those temperatures to climb with plenty of sun. Radar is looking dry, zooming out, high pressure is going to keep things quiet for much of the day today and much of tomorrow. But as we see this high pressure here as it moves its way east, notice the counterclockwise spiral. That's the wind direction around that high pressure, and that south wind will move in the back side of it, of course, increasing temperatures as we head into tonight as well as tomorrow. But while we're on the topic of the weekend forecast, I do want to emphasize that the St. Patrick's Day parade is tomorrow, and you couldn't ask for better weather with high temperatures nearing 60 degrees by the afternoon. But at least before that, 40s and 50s during parade time with sunshine, a south wind. It's great weather in case you and the kids want to come out and enjoy the nice weather and enjoy the festivities. A lot of great events going along Genesee Street, as well as, of course, plenty of candy from some of the parade goers. Saturday, mostly cloudy, temperature of 64. Those clouds roll in the second half of the day on Saturday. On Sunday, we start out dry, but scattered showers and storms roll through. This could be our first true thunderstorms of the season as a massive cold front moves through much of the U.S. In fact, let's take a look at what goes on this weekend. So high pressure in play here today. Same thing for tomorrow. A warm front rolls through by Saturday night. And then here we are. Look at this massive cold front here. Well, the line disappeared, but you can see the massive temperature decrease as you go out to the east. That's that huge shift. Strong winds, heavy rainfall, even some potential for thunderstorms as well. So in our Skycast today, highs climb into the upper 50s, low 60s. Plenty of sun, quiet afternoon. Great weather for any evening plans, grilling, going for a walk, taking your dog out for a walk, or enjoying the sunshine outside. Tonight, temperatures fall in the 30s and 40s. Tomorrow, it's a quiet day. A bit breezy from the south, but the winds won't be too bad for much of the afternoon. A passing sprinkle possible in the evening, otherwise mainly quiet. Then clouds roll in on Sunday. It's a mostly cloudy day. And then by Sunday evening, here comes that line of showers and storms. And you can see here some heavy rainfall along that line, rumbles of thunder possible, as well as some strong winds. And there could be a warning or two from this system. We don't know if it'll happen up here as much as it will down to the south. This is a massive cold front that'll likely produce a lot of severe weather in parts of the Atlantic coast south of central New York. But in case there are warnings, that QR code at the bottom of your screen, great to get any severe weather alerts directly to your phone. It was very beneficial last year, and when we get into severe weather season this year, it's a great tool to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Always. Thanks a lot, Eric. Well, the escalating trade war is causing concerns for businesses. Eric, how are we looking tonight for Old Forge and tomorrow in Utica?
Well, for tonight, Old Forge couldn't ask for better weather for St. Patrick's Day parade festivities. We're in the 50s and 60s heading out.
Wow.
Yeah. I know a few years ago it was potentially snowing.
Yeah, I think one year they did go to the snowplow and clear the way.
Yeah, but today you couldn't ask for better weather. In fact, outside right now, a live look at Main Street in Utica as we speak, or I should say right here in downtown Utica. We are tracking sunshine, plenty of it. A few wispy clouds way up in the sky. Temperature sitting at 49 degrees in Rome right now, 52 in Hamilton. Approaching already 60 degrees in Buffalo, and it has already reached 60 degrees in Dansville to the south. So again, today we'll continue to see that warm-up continue across all of central New York. The radar right now is entirely dry, and we'll expect dry conditions for the entire day today, most of tomorrow, and most of Sunday. But We do have an alert day in effect for Sunday with the potential for some pretty strong winds as heavy rain rolls through the area. We have a full detailed look at that weekend forecast, plus what you can expect heading out to the parade tomorrow coming up in that full forecast. Steve?
All right, Eric, thanks. A scary scene at the Denver airport last night as an American.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Plenty of sunshine across the board this afternoon, and on top of that, warmer weather on the way. Live look at downtown Utica. Blue skies, a few wispy clouds, but that's really the only cloud cover we're expecting today. 49 the temperature right now, so it is still a little on the cool side, but this will rise as high as the upper 50s to low 60s in the span of the next couple of hours. A look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. Things are dry this afternoon, and speaking of dry weather, if you plan on going to the St. Patrick's Day Parade tomorrow in Utica, you couldn't ask for better weather. We're in the 40s and 50s by 9 to 11 a.m. Plenty of sun, no rain or snow expected. So this could be one of the best conditions weather-wise in years for this parade. So get out and enjoy it. It's a lot of fun and, of course, plenty of candy for the kids as we head into the parade time tomorrow. So this weekend, partly cloudy skies Saturday. It's a beautiful day expected. Maybe an isolated sprinkle late in the evening. An alert day is in effect on Sunday, though, and here's the reason why. So first off, there is a massive storm system impacting the entire or at least the central U.S. today, and then eventually the southeast tomorrow. That red zone, level 4 out of 5 risk for severe weather. That's not a common thing to happen. So just again, if you know anyone in the St. Louis area, parts of Missouri, Illinois, Iowa, western portions of Tennessee, just a heads up, there's a pretty significant severe weather event going on today. That'll change to the south tomorrow, but we're going to zoom forward to Sunday because that tail end of that system could produce some severe weather in our area. It's not high, but the risk is there, and we're slowly entering severe weather season. This is not expected to be a massive lightning show, not a whole lot of instability, but there's still plenty of strong winds and heavy rain expected. There's also potential for hail as some cold air is going to work its way in the backside of the system. A massive cool down follows. As you can see right here, here comes that cold front, and then eventually watch that cold air begin to work its way in as we head into Sunday night and into Monday. We go from the 60s down into the 30s in the span of a few hours. So our Skycast today showing temperatures in the 50s, cooling down into the 30s tonight, rebounding back into the 60s tomorrow. It's a beautiful afternoon across the area. A few sprinkles late tomorrow evening as that warm front lifts north. And then it's a mainly cloudy day Sunday, a warm one, a windy one. And then here comes that cold front. Some heavy rain possible, maybe some rumbles of thunder and lightning, and some strong winds associated with that as well. Mainly straight line winds. This is not going to be one of those setups that could produce rotating storms like what we saw a lot of last year. So just a typical storm threat alert day for Sunday. That cool down for St. Patrick's Day down into the 40s, but we're back into the 50s and 60s again by the middle of next week. So the final days of winter shaping up very spring-like. So far, pretty mild entrance into spring.
Yeah, we're not going to write off winter just yet because we've seen that movie before, but for right now, we're excited where we are. All right, thanks a lot, Eric. Well, extreme weather has been impacting millions around the country these past couple of days. Including many in a neighborhood of Los Angeles. An EF0 tornado touched down on Thursday, leaving plenty of damage behind. Video has emerged showing the moment the storm moved through the Pico Rivera neighborhood, uprooting trees, damaging vehicles and homes. Now, despite being considered a weak tornado by the National Weather Service, the twister left quite an impression. 85-mile-an-hour winds whipped down streets. The damage stretched for about a mile. Fortunately, no injuries were reported. Coming up, an earnings report by Dollar General has a lot to say.
Costello Eye Physicians and Surgeons is accepting new patients. Request an appointment at costelloeye.com.
The Financial Report is brought to you by Greater Heights Tree Care. The Oneonta Cam is brought to you by Semicron Danfoss.
The price of gold has hit a record high as concerns about the Trump administration's tariffs increase. Eric Gage joins us once again, and not a bad way weather-wise to end the work week, certainly.
Yeah, lots of sun, warm weather across the board, and it's almost a stark contrast from 8 years ago.
Yeah,
those of you that remember.
Say that.
For those of you who had keen eyes earlier in the broadcast, quickly passed over this, but wanted to mention it at least in this half hour. 8 years to the day, Superstorm Stella gripped central New York and dropped the most amount of snow in 24 hours in Utica records. 33 inches of snow. That, of course, has topped any previous records. For example, the blizzard of 93, blizzard of 66. Those all took place over the span of a few days. This all happened in the span of 24 hours. That's why Superstorm Stella is quite the difference maker here. Oneonta live view right now. Again, huge difference. We're talking 40s and 50s today. Potentially nearing 60 in the Mohawk Valley, and plenty of sun. A few wispy clouds out to the west, but that's really about it. Radar is looking quiet and dry here locally, and it's setting the stage for a warm weekend and a quiet overall Saturday. But again, an alert day is in effect for Sunday, primarily Sunday evening. As a strong cold front passes over us, heavy rain, potentially some strong winds. Thunder and lightning are possible, as well as a sharp drop in that temperature overnight. We have the full details on the timing of it, plus the more detailed impacts coming up in a few minutes. Steve?
All right, thanks a lot, Eric. The story of human evolution in Europe just got a little...
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Lots of sunshine today and temperatures continuing to climb as well. It's going to be a fantastic afternoon and evening if you want to spend time outside today. Downtown Utica, gorgeous blue skies, only some thin, wispy, cirrus clouds out in the distance. And downtown Utica, current temperatures sitting in the 40s, officially in Rome, sitting at 49 degrees, but we're going to see that climb potentially in the mid to upper 50s within the next hour or so. Radar is entirely dry. Expect a dry day for the remainder of the day today, but again, as we head into tomorrow for the St. Patrick's Day Parade that kicks off around 9 a.m., or I should say closer to the middle of the morning hours to 11 a.m., 40s and 50s are expected. It's great weather for any of you who want to go out and enjoy the festivities of Utica's St. Patrick's Day Parade. It's a lot of fun, and of course, if you bring your kids, there'll be plenty of candy that they can collect as well. The weekend shaping up very pleasantly to start on Saturday. Partly cloudy skies, high of 64 degrees. On Sunday, it's an alert day. Now, the showers and storms we are expecting will not be all day long. They'll likely arrive in the evening hours after or near sunset, but still, they're strong enough to where we figure we'd issue an alert day for any of you who are out and about during that time frame. So, a backstory here. There's a massive storm system impacting a lot of the U.S. right now. In fact, central U.S., pinpointed around St. Louis and the surrounding states, are in a level 4 out of 5 risk, which is not very common. Usually that happens maybe once a year, if that. And beyond that, that system will continue to push its way east. Eventually, as we head into Sunday, we'll see the tail end of it. We're also on the very fringe of severe weather potential. What we're lacking is instability in the atmosphere. So this won't be a big lightning show or a big severe thunderstorm show, but there'll still be some strong winds potential, as well as some heavy rain, as well as some hail. We've got some cold air working in as well. So those are the risks expected, and again, that takes place in the evening hours. You can see that arrival here, a very strong cold front moves through, and that temperature drop that follows. So our skycast today, high temperatures in the 50s tonight, in the 30s, overnights lows, low 40s, upper 30s. Then tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, maybe a light sprinkle up north and west. Then cloudy skies move in. Sunday, temperatures start out in the 50s, warming up into the 60s, and then here comes that cold front here. Some heavy rain along that line, as well as, again, some potential for straight line winds as that moves through. Following that, a cool down into Monday, but then the final days of winter looking pretty mild in the 50s and 60s by Wednesday and eventually Thursday when spring does begin later on in the week.
So a spring, we said this a couple times this morning, a spring-like day on the first day of spring. That's been a while, actually. All right, thanks a lot, Eric. Well, several big names are throwing their hats in the ring to be TikTok's next owner. It's all still very much in limbo with that April 5th deadline just around the corner. NBC's Stephen Romo has this story.
The clock is ticking on TikTok, with President Trump